1 Samuel chapter 1 verses 20 to 22, and 24 to 28. She conceived and, at the end of her pregnancy, bore a son whom she named Samuel. In those days Hannah conceived, and at the end of her term bore a son whom she called Samuel, since she had asked the Lord for him. The next time her husband Elkanah was going up with the rest of his household to offer the customary sacrifice to the Lord and to fulfill his vows, Hannah did not go, explaining to her husband, "Once the child is weaned, I will take him to appear before the Lord and to remain there forever. I will offer him as a perpetual Nazirite." Once Samuel was weaned, Hannah brought him up with her, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and presented him at the temple of the Lord in Shiloh. After the boy's father had sacrificed the young bull, Hannah, his mother, approached Eli and said, "Pardon, my lord. As you live, my lord, I am the woman who stood near you here, praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord granted my request. Now I, in turn, give him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he shall be dedicated to the Lord." Hannah left Samuel there. Elkanah and his wife Hannah were unable to conceive a child. At this time in history the wife's value was tied to her ability to bear children for her husband. Hannah is desperate and prays to God for a son. Remember, she was thought to be barren, yet with God's help she bears a son, and names him Samuel. There were 5 other women in the Bible who were thought to be barren until God allowed them to have children. Sarah, Abraham's wife, gave birth to Isaac, the child God promised to give them. Rebekah, the wife of Isaac, gave birth to twins, Esau and Jacob. Rachel, the wife of Jacob, gave birth to Joseph and Benjamin. Manoah's wife, bore a son named Samson. Anna, wife of Elkanah, prayed, prayer was answered. Elizabeth, in her late 60s, Zachariah's wife, gave birth to John the Baptist. When you look over these miraculous births, we see that all the male children became important men of their time who had come to fulfill a mission from God. Samuel's birth is truly a miraculous event. Hannah names her child Samuel, which means heard of God. God had heard her prayer, seen her predicament and rewarded her efforts. Samuel's birth emphasizes that prayer and divine intervention not only caused the birth of a child but also a child who played an important role in the development of Israel and the faith. In Hannah's prayer she promised, "I'll offer him as a perpetual Nazirite." What then is a perpetual Nazirite? Nazirite, from the Hebrew word nazar, meaning set apart as sacred, dedicated, vowed. The Nazirite vow could be either for a limited period or for life. Those bound by this vow had to abstain from all the products of the grapevine, from cutting or shaving their hair, and from contact with a corpse. They were regarded as men and women of God like the prophets. Examples of lifelong Nazirites were Samson, Samuel, and John the Baptist. At the time of Jesus, the practice of taking the Nazirite vow for a limited period seems to have been quite common, even among the early Christians.